Alright, guys, so moving on to The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Now, like I said in the last video, I watched this semi-recently, and by recently I mean maybe like a year ago. So I still don't remember much of it. I remember a decent chunk, so that's why I'm dimming the lights a bit, because I can't watch a movie that I don't remember or that I've never seen before with lights on. So I'm making it as nice and comfortable as possible as we go through this movie and talk about it and watch it. But this came out in '77, just 4 years after the original The Exorcist. And it was absolutely panned by everybody. It was absolutely hated by pretty much everybody who was a fan of the first film. And it is a bad movie. It is. Like, there's no way around saying that. I know people who do highly enjoy this movie. I have a lot of unpopular opinions. I say that a lot on the channel. Like, Texas Chainsaw 2 is my favorite in the series. I don't like the Blair Witch Project, and I fucking adore Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. I've seen that movie an unhealthy amount of times. Like, it's a comfort film at this point. What else? Like, so many sequels and stuff like that that I like better than the original one that's supposed to be the greatest and shit. But, like, I don't like Scream. Never cared for Scream. I still haven't seen the one from early this year because I just don't give a shit. Again, and I see so many notifications and stuff saying Scream 6 details and news and all that stuff, and I just, please end this fucking series already. Like, it's so bad. Like, I don't know. I'm not getting into Scream because we got another terrible movie to talk about here. Scream isn't terrible. Let me just correct myself there. It is a very well made movie. It's just not, it doesn't work for me. Like, that's what it is. I think there is some genius stuff in the first film. The first 20 minutes, a few other things throughout the movie, very great stuff. It's just not my thing. It just, they try to be they still try to be serious. Excuse me. Even though they have so much of the meta humor and self-references and cliches and tropes that they're aware of, and it feels like a fucking parody to me. And then, of course, we got Scary Movie that just took that to a whole new level. And then that ruined the Scream movies for me too, because every time I watch Scream, which is rare, I'm just picturing the scenes from Scary Movie. So it just never worked for me. Like, it's trying to be a serious slasher film, but at the same time it's trying to be comedic and self-referential, and it just doesn't have that balance for me. Like, horror comedies and stuff, you need a balance. Like, perfect example, Deadstream from early this year. Well, not too early, in October, fucking last month. Fucking, I forgot when it came out. Amazing found footage movie, and the only way I can describe it is like Evil Dead 2 found footage style. Like, and the way that Joseph and Vanessa Winter, the directors, who also directed the end segment of VHS 99, they have such a brilliant knack for just combining comedy and horror just right at the perfect equilibrium, and just how to wave in and out of it just perfectly and just seamlessly be back together. And they're so amazing at that. But we're not even talking about The Exorcist 2 yet. So let's talk a little more about that movie. So yeah, it was absolutely panned by everybody and audiences too. Like, back, it was hated so much that I think even William Peter Blatty or William Friedkin, it was one of them, came out after the premiere and said, like, it's an absolutely atrocious film, or like something like that, or an embarrassment to his film, or something along those lines. So even fucking Blatty, pretty sure it was William Peter Blatty who did that. Even he hated this movie so much. Now, I always try to defend any movie if I can. If there's enough good things, even if it's just a few good things, and I've said this many times on the channel, that I always try to find a silver lining or two in a movie that I could say, okay, the score was good at least. Everything else was really bad. But the score was good, and this character was good character and good acting by the actor. A few things like that, like I had a cool kill or two. Like I'll defend that movie. Like I won't say I hate that movie. You never hear me say I hate a movie. Hate's a very strong word, but I won't call a film terrible if I can pull a few good things out of it. So there's not many. I don't think there's more than two movies on my channel that I ranted on, like hardcore. And those two are Return to Sleepaway Camp, which was just, I don't know, man. Like, it was so bad. Like, atrocious. Like, so fucking terrible in every way that like I couldn't pull a positive out. Like the positives I could pull out were like the tiniest little things. It's probably one of the worst movies I've seen in fucking years. Like at least since Black Christmas 2019. Probably another decade before that. Like probably since the movie came out. No wait. If you want to laugh, check out that video. And the other one was Jeepers Creepers 3. Just I went to town on that movie. If you want to check that out, if you saw Jeepers Creepers 3, and I did the same thing with Reborn. That's like the third and only one that I really ranted on, and they're pretty funny videos. I'm not gonna lie. So I've had friends tell me that they're hysterical, and if occasionally if I'm making a clip or something and I'll watch one of my videos, I'll laugh at them too. Like, there's some funny shit in those videos. So, Jeepers Creepers 3, I'll put like little fucking boxes up in here for Jeepers Creepers 3 and Reborn and the other fucking one, Return to Sleepaway Camp. But this is such a hated film. There is good in this movie. Like, there is some stuff in here that would work if it was just completely redone and rewritten a million times over. Like, and the movie would just have to completely be changed. But there is good content in here. There are good ideas in this movie. They're just so spread out and all over the place and not explored that it doesn't matter that they're there. That it's still a bad movie. But there are some good things, and I'll be pointing them out as we go on. So let's start 1977's The Exorcist, The Heretic, and we're 8 minutes in. I'll put like a timestamp saying for when we've really started talking about this, since I went on some tangents there, as usual. So let's do it. While the credits are rolling, let's talk about Linda Blair and her performance in this. She gives a great performance. She really does. Like, that's one positive right there, is that Linda Blair gives a very good performance, again, as Regan. Like, again, we have the sympathy for her. We really care about her. We know what she went through in the first movie. And now we see her later on, 4 years later, dealing with this trauma still. And it is actually handled pretty well in this movie. And just, she gives a very good performance. And then also, we get James Earl Jones in this movie dressed up like a cicada or some shit later on. So that's hysterical. But as Regan, it feels like Regan again. Like, it feels natural. It feels like this is what Regan would be like and be dealing with 4 years after the events of the first film. So we can give that right there a little plus for this movie. That Linda Blair does a good performance as Regan, and we can sympathize with her. Alright, so we start off with a pretty good opening scene. Like, I remember this scene. When we're in some, I'm gonna guess it's Iraq again, like the first movie that Marin went to at the very beginning. Because if they showed where it was, I wasn't looking at it at the time. But we see this girl who's seemingly possessed, and there's a father there, a priest, and he throws holy water on her, and she starts saying, "I feel the sick." Like, I feel the sick, like, and then she starts freaking out like Reagan would, like, is violent, and she ends up knocking all the candles over and burns herself alive while she's like putting her hands in the air, and she starts all engulfed in flames, and everyone's freaking out. It's a cool scene. Like, it's fine to like start a sequel to the Exorcist. It's okay. Like, it's a pretty good damn pretty damn good scene. And like, she ends up just engulfed in flames, and now we're left thinking like, what the hell was that, and when did it happen, and like, why did it happen? So then we cut to Reagan, and she's, like I said, 4 years older. So I forgot how old she was in the first one. I thought like 11 or 12. We'll go with 12. So she's 16 around that here, and she's seeing this psychiatrist that's doing like experimental studies by like putting probes and stuff on her head, and being able to like kind of in like Inception style, like go down like and like reach the other person. Like, it's fucking out there. Like, it is very strange, but it had potential. Like, there is something cool in there. It's just they don't really do anything with it. But let's see this first little hypnosis experimental whatever the fuck it is scene. And if I remember correctly, the doctor, the psychiatrist, or whatever she is, that's taking care of Reagan, she gives a pretty good performance too in this movie, if my memory serves me. Like, the what I'm watching right now, well, like, it really, she's doing a good job, and she seems like a doctor, and she's giving a pretty good performance. And from my memory of watching it a year ago, so I thought the same thing. And I can't think of the actress's name. It's killing me. I'll probably look it up like on the next break or something. But it's killing me what her name is. But she does a good job in this too. So we got Linda Blair and we got her with good performances. So there's some stuff positives right there. So we got Father Lamont, who's introduced here, who knew Father Merrin. He also has performed exorcisms, and the church wants him to go and not perform. They're not asking him to perform another exorcism. They just want him to investigate what happened to Father Merrin during the exorcism in the first movie. So he's going to go and investigate, and then, if memory serves me, he comes into the plot too, and like Pazuzu is still deep inside Reagan, so like it's like a ticking time bomb, like before it takes over her again, or something like that. And then Lamont takes a trip to Africa or some fucking place in the Middle East, and there's locusts all over the place. Like, that's what I mean. Like, there's so many ideas thrown at the wall in this movie, and most of them just don't stick. But the few that are, stuck apart from each other, if you pick those out and rewrote a whole bunch of shit, like the whole script on pretty much, and kept those good parts and expanded upon them, that's what I was saying earlier, that this movie it has some good stuff in it. It's just they executed it terribly. Like, terrible. Like, they just dropped the ball completely. But let's move on. Let's see Reagan start to get her little deep hypnosis therapy. And he is a soldier of Christ, and he must make himself worthy. Liz, the assistant, is fucking pretty damn sexy, man. I'll give you that. Well, I'm not giving you that. I'm giving the movie that. So, fuck you. And Father Lamont actually gives a good performance too in this, if I remember correctly, in everything I've seen so far. So we have 3 good performances. So those are all pluses. And then we have some good ideas, which I'll mention as we get through them. And we still have a really good, character development and how we feel for Reagan, with the whole bending the spoon trick that she does for the assistant, or whoever the fuck she is, the one who's taking care of Reagan, while Ellen Burstyn didn't return for this movie. So Chris McNeil is filming something wherever. So this is like her caretaker and stuff, like her guardian while Chris is off not being in this movie because Ellen Burstyn didn't want to return, or they didn't pay her enough, or they didn't want her, or whatever the reason was, which is a shame because I fucking love Ellen Burstyn. Or actually, is she in this? Does she have a scene or something in it? No, she's not, right? I'm misremembering. She's not in this movie. But yeah, it's sad that she's not, because that would have made this even better. So we got our first hypnosis thing coming up. All right, so this whole hypnosis scene, it's very well done. Like, it's really not bad. The whole idea of it is stupid as shit. Like, it really is. Like, they put the things on their head and they hypnotize Reagan and have her bring herself down, like Inception style, to like her house, which I forgot what it was. The city in the first movie, I knew they said Georgetown, but I didn't know what city. It was Washington State. So yeah, so there's fixing that from the first movie. Washington State is where the first movie took place. So they're asking her to see her room in the first movie, and she says that she sees it and that she's there and everything, and then she brings Dr. Tuskin down into her room, and like Inception, like it's fucking like maybe Inception got some like inspiration from this shit, because it really is like that. Like it's like she's pulling her into her memories, like a dream almost, and she ends up seeing everything that happened in the room, and including Reagan. I don't know why I couldn't think of her name. Like in Reagan, because I'm looking at the screen too at the same time. I didn't pause it, but we see them both go on the same level, and then Dr. Tuskin's heart starts like fibrillating, and Reagan has to go back down and try to save her and bring her back. And then, I mean, it's a tense scene. It has great sound design. Like, I'll give it that. Like with the pulsating lights and stuff. Like it sounds great. Like it really does, and it's shot pretty well too. And then the fucking stupidity that when her heart's defibrillating, Dr. Tuskin, Reagan was about to go back in to like find her, because she's defibrillating because she's stuck down there in her memory of her room, and that's when we see what actually happened to Father Merrin. That when she was possessed by Pazuzu, she basically put her arm out and twisted his heart and just stopped his heart, and that's what she's seeing, and it's apparently happening to her. And then stupidly, when Reagan's right about to go back in, Father Lamont just says like, I know where she is, I'll do it. And guy's never dealt with hypnosis. This guy has no idea where she is. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's so stupid that he's the one that has to go down and fucking bring her back and rescue Dr. Tuskin, because he knows exactly the tone that Reagan was at. He knows exactly what her room looks like. Like, all of that is so stupid. Like, what a dumb decision. And that's what I mean. Like, before that happened, it's a good scene. It's shot well, like I said. It's pretty tense. The sound design is great. But then that happens, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Like, why did you ruin that? And that happens so often in this movie. But I don't know. Like, I'm so split on that whole scene. It's great up until Lamont wants to get in there, and I know where she is, I'll go get her. All of that shit. Just so dumb. So, I don't know what to think. Another thing too about this movie is that it looks very, very different. Like, you can tell the directing is completely different style. I forgot who directed this. Hold on, actually, John Boorman. I've never really heard of him. Like, maybe I've seen a movie or two by him if he did anything else, but I don't remember. But you can tell that this isn't William Friedkin directing. And the directing and camera work and the shots and stuff is such an integral part of The Exorcist being such a perfect movie. And just the look of the film and how it feels, the atmosphere of it, all of that is missing from this, which brings it down more because it just doesn't feel like The Exorcist in style and in the style of directing and just the way the movie looks, and it just feels so different. And that's a common thing with sequels, especially to huge movies like classic movies, is that fans can never be happy with what they get. They either say that they want something, the same exact thing, and they end up getting something completely different and they hate it. Or they say they want something different and they get something different, but they don't like the thing that's different and they don't like the movie because of that. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that happens often with audiences being split on movies and stuff. But you can just look at this film and tell that, and like even in the beginning with the cool scene, the opening scene with the girl being possessed and burns herself on fire, like there's like hardly any like makeup to make her look demonic. Like when there is like some facial like different stuff happens on her face and she looks a little more demonic while she's on fire, like it looks so cheap compared to the first movie. So like there's so many of these negatives that are floating around for this movie that, like I said, it just completely diminishes and pretty much just wipes away everything that's good in here, or that could have been good if it was explored on much better or just taken in a totally different direction. So let's see what else happens here. Just want to insert this in because you crazy if you don't think those movies are coming. One of the greatest scores in a horror movie. Back to Exorcist 2, The Heretic. So Father Lamont and Dr. Tuscan both remember what they saw in her room with Father Merrin getting his heart twisted and stopped by Pazuzu, the demon. And they don't know how to proceed. And the doctor ends up saying it could have been a dream, it could have been, a fantasy, a hallucination. It's such experimental like therapy and stuff that they're doing with this hypnosis that they don't fully understand it. So it's possible that it could have been a dream, not anything but a memory. And Father Lamont is convinced that it is definitely a memory with what actually happened. And we see that Reagan actually draws or paints a painting or draws a picture for Lamont. And it has his face and it has fire all around him. And then I remember like someone bursts into flames or some shit, or like someone gets lit on fire somehow, and like it relates to the picture. Like that's what I remember. So let's find out. Yeah, so I misremembered that shit. So no one gets lit on fire. But Lamont starts going down to the boiler room and saying that there's a fire to Dr. Tuscan. She's just saying it's like some just like after effects from the hypnosis that she drew the flames, and he's convinced. He's like, no, there's a fire somewhere I gotta put out. And then he goes down to the boiler room with her, and they find like just a box that's on fire for some reason. It's so dumb. Like this whole scene is just completely stupid in every way imaginable. Like, not good at all. The only good thing maybe is that there's one single shot of Lamont when the fire is spreading, like facing at him, and there's flames behind him, like in the painting or drawing. I don't know what the fuck it is. They showed it and I was not paying attention. It's a drawing, I think. But it looks like the drawing with the flames behind him. So that's a cool shot. Besides that, stupid as shit across the board. So Tuscan and Lamont are having this whole discussion outside because the fire department came. And everybody had to get out of the building. And they're having this argument, not like a heated argument, but like a discussion about her therapy. And that how this is groundbreaking, and that like she has no idea what her work can do for the world, and that it proved to him that there is a demon deep down in this in Reagan, and he wants Tuscan to have him and Reagan go down together, and then have Tuscan control and ask the questions and everything to try to figure out something. Like I don't. They already figured out what happened to Merrill. I keep saying Merrill. Merrin. They saw his heart get fucking twisted by Pazuzu. So like, isn't that what he? That's his whole task of why he came to investigate what happened to Merrin. He found out his fucking heart was squished. So like, isn't his job done now? Or now it's just, I guess it's just like he's doing this pro bono from the church, and he's just interested now, and it's just like, I saw what I saw, I have to see more. Like we have to help this girl. That's what I'm going with, because otherwise it's like you finished your job, so you can like leave at any time. Like, you know that, right? Like, so I don't know. I was thinking about that, but let's see, because I think this is where it starts getting to the fucking locusts and stuff, which I don't know. I'm in a mood. So Reagan ends up hearing Pazuzu's voice, I guess, like, or just the demon. I don't know. Like, it's calling her name, Reagan, Reagan, and she's sleeping, and then she starts having a dream about Egypt. And that's not Egypt, but like fucking the Middle East somewhere, or maybe it's Iraq, like I said, like in the first movie, or Africa. I don't fucking know. They don't tell you. Like, there's no cue card that comes up saying fucking where it is during her dream. But she's having this dream of this little village in wherever the hell it is. And then we just start seeing a whole like plague of locusts start descending down on the village, which I don't remember what the locust means. And before that, we get the stupidest looking fake ass locust, just one of them just flying in the air towards the camera as the camera's, going back and following it. It looks so dumb. Like, it really looks stupid. Just that it looks almost like, not that bad, but it almost looks like the CGI birds in Birdemic. Not that terrible. Like, if that's like a 10 on the terrible scale in Birdemic, this is like maybe a 6, 7. But it's bad. Like, it really is. And then, like I said, there's a whole plague of locusts that come down on this village, and they have this like, they whip this shit around, and like they have like this ritual, I guess, to get rid of the locusts. I don't know, man. This is so fucking. Alright, so we got some more good and bad. So she's having that dream with the stupid locust shit, like that. Everything with the locusts are fucking stupid. Like that whole subplot with the locusts and stuff. I forget what it even means. And like I said, I know James Earl Jones, was that it? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure. He's dressed up like a locust later and some dumbass shit, and Lamont has to go over there and do something. So we'll find out. But like, everything with the locusts is just so out of place here. Like, nothing to do with the Exorcist. Like, this is just weird shit, which, trust me, I love weird movies. Like, David Lynch is one of my fucking idols. And just the Phantasm series, and I can go on, which I gotta finish, 2 through 5. Which, yes, I know won in the poll, so I know that I fucked all of you who voted for Phantasm, but they will be coming. They're coming by the end of the week, if not through the weekend, and it'll be easy to knock those 5 out. And like I said in I think the first Phantasm video, the only reason it's taking so long for me to do it is they don't have the second one on streaming. I own the whole set on DVD, but I have to fucking unplug my Xbox or my PS4 that I watch and stream all my shit on. I gotta dig out the DVD player and plug it in, and then I have to like use a weird AV jack to convert it and plug it into my PlayStation. It's a whole fucking thing. So like that's why that's not getting done, but it'll get done. Like I will dig out the DVD player. I will get Phantasm 2 finished by like the weekend, and then the rest of the series. So sorry for not adhering to the poll. You guys know I love you, but I wanted to kick off this month with The Exorcist, and you know me, I'm a fucking completionist. Once I start a series, I have to just keep going with it and finish it. So that's why we're here at the Heretic right now. But we get some. Whoa, okay, don't do that. We get some good and bad in this scene. Like, yeah, well, we get Reagan gets out of bed, and she starts walking out onto the. And they live in a fucking skyscraper. Like, I don't even know how far up. Like, it looked like fucking 100 and something feet, maybe. Like, maybe more. Like, it looked far up. And she ends up walking, and there's a cool shot when she walks by the mirror, and like, and it breaks her reflection up as she's walking past. That's a cool shot. And then she walks to the edge, which, again, the stupid shit here, that there's a banister, a glass fucking, banister around almost the whole, like, deck on the, it's not a deck, but, a porch, whatever you want to call it. Glass barrier all over the place, so you can't fucking fall. And then there's, like, one spot where there's just nothing. Who does that? Who leaves a fucking gap like that on a skyscraper? 100 feet up, maybe more. Who would do that? Are you serious? Like, I have a fear of heights. Like, I do. I love roller coasters and all that type of shit, but if I'm really high up on a building, like the few times I've been to the Empire State Building in my life, when you get up there and you look down, that's one of the scariest fucking feelings for me, man. Like, I don't know. I don't like that one bit. And she walks to the edge, and then they have a shot of looking down, and just looking at it, it's like, it kills me. It's like, oh, fuck, man, that is so far up. And then a bird just fucking hits her, like, flies by and, like, grazes her, and she comes out of it, and she screams and shit. But, again, she's walking in a skyscraper, walking onto the fucking porch, and through the convenient space that there's no fucking rail going around, glass rail. There's just a fucking open space for her to walk and almost walk off the building. It's so fucking stupid. Like, but there's good stuff. Like, it's like every scene in this movie has some good stuff in it, then has absolutely terrible stuff in it. So, I mean, I could see why this movie is hated so much, and I've never liked this movie at all. Like, the few times I've seen this over my life. But, like, maybe this might be, like, the 4th or 5th time that I've seen this movie in my entire life. So, not much. But, like, it's a shame, man. Like, it is. It's a shame for a sequel to such a fucking perfect horror film. Had such great ideas, and then just squandered them and ruined them with just absolute bullshit. that is so retarded in every way, and like none of these ideas are good in any way, shape, or form, and should not be in the movie. So it's just like I said, like it's like a magazine. Like if you're looking for like Christmas gifts and shit, you'll be like, I want this, that's cool. That's cool, I want that, that's cool and stuff. All right, I don't that's all I want. Like that's how it is with this movie for me. It's like, all right, that's a good idea. I'll take that. That's a good idea. Like this is a great idea. This is cool. You can have keep all that shit away. Like the rest of the movie just bad on like every level. So it's so weird. It's such a weird rewatch. So I'm happy I'm doing this rewatch actually because it's very interesting. And shit, man, we're 35 minutes in, and I'm 35 minutes in the movie of a 2 hour movie. So I gotta move this shit along. I can stop going on tangents and shit that have nothing to do with this movie. So this is where it starts getting really, really just batshit insane. And so we have Lamont, and he ends up going into the machine, syncing brainwaves with Reagan, and she ends up in her hypnosis telling him to call her by her real name, Pazuzu, and then proceeds to show him the past where Merrin was in Africa. And so I was kind of right. I thought Africa was where all this was taking place. But of him exorcising this kid named Kokomo, or Kokumo, probably Kokumo. And we see him like going through the fields with the locusts everywhere and swarming all over the place. And he ends up seeing Kokumo, and he's possessed, and he's just, his face is, it looks okay, it looks decent, the makeup, but I mean it looks nothing like the makeup on Reagan in the original Exorcist, like at all, like not one fucking bit. But it looks good, like it doesn't look bad, it doesn't look terrible or anything like that. And then we see that Merrin exorcised this guy, this kid, this African, and then Reagan or Pazuzu inside Reagan starts taking Lamont on a journey and says, hold on to my wings. And then we see a locust flying and stuff. That it's so out there. It's so insane. Like it's so over the top. It's so stupid in every way. But like there again, I'm gonna keep saying this. Like there's some good stuff. Like I said, the makeup on Kokumo, whatever the fuck his name is, African kid, the one who is starving and has probably AIDS. yeah, that's a good joke. All right, so fuck you. And then we see him flying on the locust flying and stuff, and then we see like Kokumo is an adult and that he has like special powers over the locusts. And that possibly even the locusts come because when he was possessed, he was bringing the locusts, and like Pazuzu was in the form of these locusts or some shit. Like it's so out there, it's so dumb. And then he comes out of it, and he knows all this information, and now he's gonna go to Africa to try to find Kokumo as an adult, to try to find out how to get rid of Pazuzu once and for all. So, like, that's, like, the plot here of what's going on. Like, we have Inception-style dream shit. We have, like, visions of Africa. And when they first start that vision, there is, like, a woman, like, singing some, like, African shit. And she's going, oh, yeah. It is so bad. It is grating on the fucking ears. Like, it is terrible. So bad. But then a little later, like when the locusts are swarming everywhere and all the villagers and stuff are running around, there's a good score there. There's some good like little stabs of music that come in, like ding ding ding. Like there's some good stuff there with the music, and the sound design is pretty good too. But then it's just this, the stupid shit outweighs any of the good stuff in every way. So you just you can't even think of the good stuff as good because of just how bad everything else is. Like, and they're showing him trying to, exercise Pazuzu, but for some fucking reason they have to do it down, like on the in between a crack, like on a cliff, like that drops like 1,000 feet to the ground. Like, picture like everybody's played Mario or stuff like that, video games where you have to, like, if there's a tight space like this, you have to jump like in between them to get to the top. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. It's like a crack between the cliff here and here. So they're in between this little fucking space that you would like rock climb up, and they're on this side, and I guess pushing their foot on the other side to stand there. And he's trying to exercise this African Kakumo while they're standing there in the middle of a broken cliff, 1,000 something feet up. And then there's villagers that are all hanging out there, and apparently that's the only way to get up to the top to like their temple. That you have to climb up this cliff. Like, come on, man. It's so stupid. Like, it's such a dumb inclusion in this. That's how he's exercising him. And then we see later he gets him into the he gets him, I guess I'm doing that. He gets him into the main temple and finishes the exorcism. So what the hell is all that shit on the cliff? Was he carrying him while he was tied up, carrying him up to get to the temple? Is that what that was? Maybe that's it. But it's still insanely retarded, like in every way. And then a few of the villagers and stuff trip and they fall, and it looks so stupid too when they fall. You see their bodies falling, and then one of them just like falls like 1,000 feet and fucking hits one of the rocks and spins his body and falls to the ground. Like, it's so fucking bad, man. Like, it really is. Like, this is considered one of the worst movies ever made. If you look it up on like worst movies ever made on a Google search, or even I think on the Wikipedia page, it says it's considered one of the worst films of all time. Is it one of the worst films of all time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like, trust me, I've seen so many terrible movies. This is not one of them. Like, it's bad, yeah. Don't get me fucking wrong. It is very bad. But it's not terrible. It's not one of the worst movies ever made, I'll tell you that. Like, 100%. There's just such an inconsistent balance between the good and the bad in here. And the bad just trumps everything. And then, again, the locust is flying towards where James Earl Jones is as adult Kakumo to try to tell Lamont how to get rid of Pazuzu. So now Lamont's hopping on a plane to Africa. That's where we're at now. Like, the best thing I can think of to fix this movie, they threw too many things in here and too many ideas. Like I said, it's like they tossed everything at the wall and not much stuck. They should have went either of the two ways. They should have went with the hypnosis thing and using that for Lamont to figure out exactly what happened, and then he finds a way to get rid of Pazuzu forever. Or this should have been the fucking prequel. Not the Minion or whatever, the beginning that came fucking decades later. This should have been the prequel. And then all the Locust stuff and the stuff with Kakumo and Lamont traveling to Africa and the flashbacks of Merrin giving the exorcism to Kakumo. All of that would have worked on its own. Would it have been a good movie? Maybe better than this. But, like, not really. Like, it's still like so different and far removed from the original Exorcist. But if it was a prequel like that, then we wouldn't have to really follow much from the first movie, and we'd be able to just have a prequel and find out the origins of Pazuzu and all that stuff. So I feel like if they went in one of those directions, like not both, and combining them and making this stupid shit. Go with one or the other. The hypnosis thing, which has some cool scenes and stuff with the pulsing lights, like I said, and the sound design is great and all of that. Go that route, or go prequel route and just do it with all those scenes and stuff, and the whole storyline with Kakumo and Merrin exercising him, and then Lamont having to go there to fix Reagan to get, or not don't even have to mention Reagan. Just have him go to Kakumo and find out how to defeat this demon. You can even just say that he heard of the case, or of Reagan's possession, and for some reason, maybe the church told him that it was demon Pazuzu, is what it said, even though I don't think it says its name Pazuzu in the first movie. So that still wouldn't work. But like something like that, and then have him go and try to figure out and find Kakumo and fix things and figure out how to get rid of Pazuzu for good, if someone's ever possessed again by him. Something better, like anything fucking better, man, like would have been so much better, like for this movie, but it just combines those two things terribly. It's so bad. So it's such a mixed movie. It's such a mixed watch. And then apparently Reagan has powers, like telepathic powers, that she heals this autistic girl who like doesn't speak, and then like she gets her to talk after like mentally telepathically talking with her, and then she gets her to talk out loud for the first time, and her parents are thrilled. Like, what the fuck is all of that? Like, all of that is so dumb. Like, that should just not exist. Now she has special powers. She's telepathic. Get the fuck out of here. That is so stupid. Oh yeah, then at the end of that dream sequence, or showing the past and stuff with the locusts in Africa, then there's just like a random guy who comes out and just roars. Then there's a tiny shot of like a leopard or a jaguar or some shit roaring. Then that's when it ends. So I don't know what the fuck that is. Like, that's so random. And then there is a good scene though after that with Reagan and what the fuck's his name? Lamont. With Lamont and Reagan talking about, that she remembers everything, and that's what they're looking at, where Pazuzu fought, and exercised Kakumo. And then she brings, he asked her, says like, "Are you scared?" And she said yes, and like, I wish I can, that she was able to, do something about it, but she ends up, like, it's a good conversation between them. Like, there's some good dialogue. He tells her like, "I wish you wouldn't be scared," and like, there's some good lines there. There's some good dialogue. There's some good like interaction between Reagan and Lamont. But then it just gets stupid again. So the leopard guy they bring up, she says, why wasn't the guy with the jaguar or leopard or whatever the hell it is? I think it was jaguar or tiger. Who the fuck knows, man? It was a big ass cat who can eat the shit out of you. All right, that's what it was. And she says like, why wasn't the guy with that afraid of Pazuzu? So now we have the mystery, and this is who Lamont's gonna go find. Adult Kakumo or whoever the fuck that was with the big ass cat who will fucking fuck you up. I don't know, but we'll find out. And we see Lamont now climbing the cliff to get up to this fucking temple or whatever. This is so stupid. These people have never, in generations, have never thought of like, well, we should like make it easier to get up here. Like, what if they have to go like go for food or water or anything? They gotta climb down that big ass cliff? Are you fucking serious? Like, there's no way I would be dealing with that if I was living there. Seriously? There's a big ass cliff, like hundreds of feet, if not like I said, over 1,000 feet like from the ground, and they gotta climb that cliff every time they want to go out somewhere. I mean, yeah, it's fucking desert everywhere. It's not like there's a 7-Eleven down the block. But, like, I'm sure they gotta go, like, hunt for food. Or there's, like, other villages that they trade with and buy from. Something. And that's how they get up there. And all these generations and fucking years and years and years, centuries, no one thought, yo, we should build a bridge or some shit, like, or a ladder. Like, it's not hard to make a ladder, even if it's like 1,000 feet tall. Like, make a ladder and just toss that shit down. Have them, as they're going down the ladder, start, hammering parts of it in so it's secured at certain points as you go down, whatever hundreds of feet that it is. There you go. Easy solution. I would have put it in the movie and there would be none of this bullshit climbing up a cliff. This is what gets me with movies, man. Like, I know a lot of movies are just, it's a business at this point, especially today. But they need to get the movie out. They need to make their money back. I understand all of that, obviously. But I see all these certain movies and I see these stupid cliches and these things that are done or ignored, and it's fucking so irritating. Like, it really is. Like, I just thought of that in what, 15 seconds of two solutions: build a bridge and then drop a big ass ladder down that they never thought of. I don't know. Like, it's just things like that. Like, no one working on the movie thought of that. Like, no one involved thought of what I just thought of. And I'm sure some of you would think of the same thing or an even better idea to get to this fucking temple. And no one who worked on the movie, the director, the cinematographer, the fucking DP, the script writers, the cast members, no one. That's what it really pisses me off. Like, it does. In movies like this that are bad like this, with just stupid ideas that could have been thought over and fixed in a matter of a few seconds. But they don't. They just keep it retarded for no reason. And, it pisses me off so much, man. Like, I've always wanted to make a horror movie. I just don't know enough about filmmaking to do it. But, like, writing, I guarantee that I can write you a fucking badass script. Like, I've actually been working on writing something recently, like, within less than a year, writing a script. So I am working on that. So, not going to say what it's about or anything like that, but as I keep going with it, I'll give updates, and then obviously when I'm finished, I will share it on the channel and stuff. But, and take the idea if you're a filmmaker, fucking go ahead. I really don't give a shit. Give me fucking royalties. Or don't pay me at all. Just get a good idea out there. Seriously, I don't give a fuck about the money. I don't know. This is getting too long for The Exorcist to The Heretic. So let's just move on here. We're getting at the hour mark in 10 minutes. Then they show you a shot of Lamont at the top of the temple looking down the cliff. And it's only like fucking 100-foot drop. Like, get the fuck out of here. We saw earlier 2 of these guys fall off this cliff. And they fell 1,000 feet, like, way down. It's like you could see the ground from there in this shot. Like, it's so stupid, man. Oh, and Reagan's a tap dancer. Like, that's what she does now. She's a fucking tap dancer. Why we needed to know that, why we needed this scene in the movie, any of this exists, I don't know. Don't ask me. Like, just not needed here at all. And again, with the psychic link shit, Reagan now is telepathically linked to Lamont when he's in Africa. So during her tap dancing and stuff, like, Lamont, the whole villagers don't want Lamont seeing Kokumo and they're calling him a devil worshiper, Lamont. And then they start, like, he starts running and they start, like, hitting him and some shit, and like he's in pain. And then Reagan is in pain while she's dancing and feels the pain from Lamont. And then she just falls down on stage, and God, I just can't. They're giving Reagan a drug to go to sleep, but it's a drug that puts you to sleep, but you don't have dreams. So, Exorcist 2, The Heretic, pretty much invented Hypnosil for the Friday series, like fucking 5, 6, 7 years beforehand. So, good job on them. Alright, so then we meet James Earl Jones' Locust version with him dressed up like a fucking locust. Like, and then Father Lamont gets to him and starts talking to him and saying that he'd do anything to help Reagan. You know, that this girl's been possessed by Pazuzu, and um, Locust Man, Kakumo, basically just tells him that you have to pluck out her evil heart, whatever the hell that means, and that Pazuzu is she's still in danger because of her dreams. And as Lamont was walking towards where Kakumo's little hut is, she's saying in her dreams, Kakumo, Kakumo, like over and over again. I don't know. And then he starts talking to the locust guy, Kakumo. It's so out there, man. It really is. And then he says that he'll help him and stuff, but he has to prove his faith. And again, like the last movie with Karis, saying that he lost his faith in God, and then him saying, I do believe, I really do. Like, I'll do anything to help Reagan. And he has to prove his faith by walking on a bed of spikes to get to him, to get to Kakumo. And it's just a drawn out scene, and then he finally steps on the spikes, and spikes go right through his foot. Looks okay. And then he just face plants and falls on it, and then just wakes up in a dream, or like in somewhere in like a hospital, and it's still James Earl Jones, but he's not like a locust no more. It's so weird. Like, if like this is a movie that I could see like people liking, or like that you could see this as a good movie, is if you like dropped a bunch of acid. Like, if you were tripping balls watching this movie, this could be a very trippy good movie with all just the insanity that happens in it. But it's just so bad. Like, it's so bad, man. Like, come on with this. All right, so then yeah, he wakes up in this. Is it a dream, or was him meeting James Earl Locust, was that a dream? And then like he was in this lab and passed out, and then met fucking Kakumo. Like, none of it makes sense. Like, is it a dream? It feels like a dream, but because he was in Africa, and he saw Locust Man, and he fucking fell on the spikes. But then he's fine, and he has no injuries, so it's a dream. But then he's showing him, Kakumo showing Lamont all the locusts and stuff, and that he has a good locust, and that it's supposed to like prevent some stuff. Like, it's so weird. It's so hard to follow. It's so poorly put together. Oh man, like that, and it sucks. It really does. From seeing the good things in this movie and the possibilities of it being better by expanding on the good things. Like I said, if this was a prequel, then this stuff in Africa with him meeting Kakumo and walking on the spikes and all that stuff would be fine. That would be pretty cool. Like, it would be good. Not bad, not great, but it would be good. It would be a good movie if they really explored, just went that way with a prequel. But they don't. And they just waste all the good stuff with all the terrible stuff. And I know I'm saying that a lot, but it's infuriating. Like, it's not like that infuriating, but it's really annoying. And like, just seeing the potential of certain ideas in here, and then just seeing it squandered by just stupidity. Like, every scene has that. So like, again, I apologize for repeating myself a lot, but god damn, man, like, I don't know. All right, so then Reagan brings the synchronizer. She steals it from Tuscan. That's her name, right? Who gives a shit at this point with this movie? I can't believe it's as long as it is. It's going to be ending up longer than the video for The Exorcist, the first one, which is crazy. I know I went on a lot of tangents, though, so that makes sense. But she steals the synchronizer, and then they go in Penn Station in some random room and set it up, and then synchronize again with each other. And then he realizes, and Merrin tells Lamont that he entrusts Reagan into him, and that he's able to take care of her, and that they gotta synchronize each other because she has good and evil inside her. And now they're at Penn Station, and they're heading to Washington, to her old house. For some fucking reason, it's just it. I don't know. Like it's like I said, I try to defend these movies that are shitted on so much. Like I said, look at Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. It's one of my favorite movies. It really is. I watch that shit all the time. If it's on, or if I'm just like want to fall asleep, like I've fallen asleep to that movie. Like it's a real comfort film, a real fucking guilty pleasure. And I know it's not a great movie with the studio fuckery in it. Without it, it is a fucking great movie. It's just so misunderstood. So I love defending movies like that. Just like this. Like considered one of the worst of all time. Is it? No. Like I said, not one bit. Is this the one of the worst films ever made? But it's just it's such a mixed bag. But it's not really mixed in the direction you want it to go. Like it's just not mixed correctly. There's just too much superfluous shit going on that just makes no sense, has nothing to do with the original movie. There's special powers now. There's fucking she can telepathically link with people. Like it's so out there that it doesn't make sense, and like most of it is just so stupid. So I don't know. The Heretic, man, should be Exorcist 2. The Heretic. Fuck you. This movie sucks. And this should not have been a 2-hour movie at all. Like this should be 90 minutes. There's a good fucking half hour or more that they could have cut out of this film. Like that's another thing. Like there's a lot of pacing issues. They could have cut out 30-40 minutes of this movie and added an extra scene or two to like make up for the 10-minute difference, make it a 90-minute film. And this had no right being 2 hours. So they show up to the old house from the first movie, and Gene and the caretaker for Reagan are driving to meet them there before something bad happens, and then cool shots and stuff with the locusts when Lamont opens the door to her room and the locusts come swarming out, and then for some reason it affects Gene and the cab driver and the caretaker, and they end up crashing the car like right into the house, like on the side of the house, like through the gate. And then they see Pazuzu, they see the other version of Reagan. So there's two Reagans now. There's the real Reagan, and then there's Pazuzu. But I thought Pazuzu's inside Reagan. So why it's projecting another one? And the makeup looks terrible. The makeup looks so bad on demonic Reagan in this compared to the first movie. It's absolutely insane. Like how bad that the makeup is in this movie compared to the excellent makeup effects and stuff in the first film. Like there is no excuse for that. Like absolutely not. Like that's really hard to see and swallow and be like, all right, I'm starting to not be able to defend this movie as much as I thought I could. And then again, cool scene, but the caretaker gets out of the crashed car. Jean's stuck inside and she's asking her for help, and she proceeds to light herself on fire. The caretaker. Why? I have no fucking idea. I mean, I'm guessing it's the Pazuzu controlling and forcing her to do that, but it's happening at the same time that they're in the room with Pazuzu, like the other Reagan, when we start seeing two of them. Like, it's so weird, man. It could have been cool, but it's fucking weird. Then the locusts show up. The swarm of locusts just starts coming over Washington, and nobody notices except them. And then like the windows explode and the locusts come in again. Cool shots, like cool ideas here, but just not executed well. It's just so mind-boggling, like watching a film like this that is so split, but with the negatives in such a higher position than the positives. Like negatives, positives. Like right here. Like that's how it is with this movie. And let's see how it ends, because I completely forgot. So the locusts are still flying around, and Lamont is like beating the shit out of Pazuzu Reagan on the bed. And then the floor collapses, and like they fall through the floor with the bed, like while they're on top of it. And Reagan's standing on the ledge of where the floor didn't collapse, and she's like screaming and trying not to fall. And that's it. So that's it. Like Lamont is beating the shit out of Pazuzu Reagan. The floor collapses. The bed falls through. Locusts everywhere, and that's it. They beat Pazuzu. How? I don't have a fucking clue. Like, not one bit. What did any of this do to stop Pazuzu and get the demon out of Reagan? Bringing her back to her old house, and then what? Having a plague of locusts come and just beating the shit out of Pazuzu until you fall through a floor, and that destroys the demon? It's so fucking retarded. It's so out there. It makes no sense. And then Lamont survives, and Reagan's cured forever or some shit. And let's just see. There's 2 minutes left. And then we just have the ending with this exchange of dialogue between Reagan and Jean. And she says, I understand, to Reagan. She's like, Reagan, I understand. But the world won't. Not yet. What does that even mean? Like, what does that mean? Like, please someone tell me. The world won't understand? Understand what? Like, what we just saw. Like, I don't know what the fuck happened. They're the only ones that are gonna know. Like, how are you gonna explain to authorities and shit? And they just walk off. Like, walk away. Lamont and Reagan just walk away and are never, I guess, fucking seen again. Like, they never were interviewed by the cops, interrogated, like questioned, nothing like that. And Jean is there, and the cop asks, "Are you okay?" and stuff. So she's gonna be getting questioned. So I guess they're just leaving out everything to do with the demonic possession, but because the world doesn't, they won't understand. What the hell is that line? Like, what does that mean? Like, I need to know what that means. And then it just ends. That's the end of the fucking movie. Alright. Alright, so ending thoughts. As I've said many times, in an hour and 7 minutes, the same length as The Exorcist, a fucking perfect classic. This is fucking bad, bad, bad. Whatever. Fucking. At least we got tomorrow. I'm going to be hosting a watch stream discussion of Exorcist 3 Legion, which is thankfully a fucking phenomenal movie. So I will be joined by Sean, Blue Digital, Katie from Popping the Popcorn, Echo Sarah, and hopefully a few others if their schedule is free during that time. It's going to be tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so we'll have at least 4 of us, 3 or 4 of us on there watching and discussing the film. If you want to come, I think it's free on Tubi, yeah. So if you want to watch along, then we'll put timestamps in and everything. It'll be a fun time. And we can watch and discuss a good movie. But ending thoughts with this, it's not one of the worst movies ever made. Like I keep saying. It's not. Like by a long shot. It has great ideas in there. It has some cool shots. It has good performances. It has some great sound design in the hypnosis scenes and everything. It has some good score to it. I'm pretty sure the score was by Ennio Morricone, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, I'd have to check, but I'm pretty sure Morricone. I did the same thing with Damien Leone, or Damien Leone, but I've heard him say his name. It's Damien Leone. So I'll go with Ennio Morricone. But he did the score for this. I'm like 99% sure. And there's some good stuff in there for the score. But just the directing style, it looks nothing like The Exorcist. Like it's nowhere near so masterfully shot. There's so many bad ideas in here that are mixed with the good ones and just all mixed together to make this terrible, weird sequel to just a perfect horror film. And I absolutely understand why this movie is hated so much. I absolutely get it. Like, again, I don't hate movies. Like, if I can find one or two things in a movie, I can't say I hate that movie. Yeah, I don't, because I like a few things in it. So I never use that word, like so rarely. And if I do, I'm being hyperbolic. But I don't hate this movie. I don't think it's terrible, terrible. It's watchable. It's just so bad. It's really just it's not good. It's just really not good. Like in any way, shape, or form. There's good stuff in it. There's some great stuff in it. But God, is this a fucking all over the place, batshit insane sequel to an absolute masterpiece. So, guys, that's The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Hour and 10 fucking minutes. But like I said, hey, join us tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be streaming Exorcist 3 Legion, which I ordered the book and the book for the original Exorcist for a little Christmas present for myself. So I'm excited to get those and finally read the books. But I think I'm going to do something fun either in the next few hours. Yeah, it's not even midnight, quarter to midnight. Might do something fun that I've been saying I'm going to do, that I've been planning. So that might happen tonight. If not, definitely tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But wherever you're from, hope you're having a good day, good morning, or good night. And I will see you guys soon. Take care, guys.